Hi, everyone. Welcome to Cozy Corner Chronicles. I'm Julia,
And I'm Liz.
and we're back with another chapter chat for How My Neighbor Stole Christmas. I know we've been reading this for 10 years, guys, but our schedules are just super busy. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, don't sue
Yeah.
us.
And like we say in every episode, if you want us to continually do episodes, you're going to have to make us full time podcasters.
Literally, that is our dream, and we will stand by that.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we'll be completely honest. Liz and I have been reading this book, but like it's kind of been like a long time that we've
Yeah.
read parts of these. So here we are.
Yeah.
But
And if it's a little how do you say not organized, it's because we're gonna be remembering things as we talk about it.
exactly. So last time we spoke, we were doing the lights. That was the competition for the
Mm-hmm.
Kringliest Kringle. And this time around, it's the candy cane stuff. So everybody who has heard anything about this book, I feel like all they remember is the candy cane scene. And
Yeah.
spoiler alert, Liz and I texted on the side about this. It was so mid.
It was not even close to mid. It was so PG.
We'll get to that in a second then. So with that being said, let's get into it. The whole focus of these like 5 chapters, honestly, was the candy cane competition.
Yeah, definitely. And the basically the backstory about how the man who runs the candy cane or who judges the competition is very like he loves traditional candy canes, right? How the stripes look, the colors, the flavor, like he's very, very, very traditional. So it's like a serious bold move if you're doing something different.
Yes. And so there's this dude who used to like work under him who created a rival candy cane shop like an hour away. And so the dude who judges it thinks it's unfair if he teaches you. So everybody goes to this hour away place to learn how to make candy canes.
Yeah.
So Stormy, is that even her name anymore? Dang, it's been so long. Story.
Story.
Stormy is something else.
Stormy baby.
So Story, haha, um, she's driving to like hit her and Cole are both like about to drive to this thing, but it's icy. She don't
Yes.
know how to drive. She
At
like skirt
all.
skirt. So she starts because her sister and her grandma, or sorry, Aunt Cindy are like, you have to go, you have to go, you have to win this
Mm-hmm.
competition. So she
Mm-hmm.
goes, and lo and behold, she gets like trapped in the side of the road because she's like, I can't drive.
Yeah, and all romance stories, what happens? He comes and he's like, Story, I'm here to save you in my big truck. And so he's like, they're like, there's so much tension once she gets into the car.
Yeah,
And he's like debating, like, are we gonna continue to go? Are we not gonna continue to go? And he was like, I need to call somebody to come get your car, like all this stuff. Just going back and forth, right? And there's like tension building up. It's like getting really spicy
yeah,
in
like
there.
sexual tension.
Yeah. And like when like when you get in your car and it's cold outside and you're breathing, so like the windows fog up, that's how I feel like the tension was feeling.
Yes, I agree because like they get into the car and they're like she's obviously shaken because she's like crying in her car because she's stuck in of course like no one's there on this abandoned road to the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere. And they're like, no, we still have to go. Like Aunt Cindy's gonna kill me if I don't go and all that stuff. So they finally get to the point where they're like driving and they're talking about why do you hate me so much and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And he finally spills the beans out the day after his parents had like passed. She like just left and she
Yeah.
didn't say anything. And so she like obviously apologizes and they kind of rekindle and they're like, oh, are we like friends now or
Right, which is so stupid to me because if I feel like if he had opened with that in the beginning, the book wouldn't be so damn long.
I
Like
know, but for the plot, I
yeah,
guess.
it
And
is what it
it is
is.
a traditional romance. Like I feel like while this romance is decent, like I have read better romance. Like I
Yeah.
still like Lunar Love and that kind of stuff better just cuz it's like predictable, but it's funny
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, for
like
sure.
it's good. So, I'm not saying we don't like this book. It's
Oh
just
yeah, no.
like ha ha ha.
Yeah.
But
And so after they've like to had this discussion and blah blah blah, they start Did they kiss?
I don't think they kissed till later. Like they were about to when they get home. Like so they
Oh, you're
go,
right,
they
right,
make
right.
it to the candy cane class, and like
Oh, they're partners.
yeah, they're like partners, and they're trying to, and everybody is there. Like everybody who's in this Kringliest Kringle competition is there, and like they find out that making candy canes is really hard because you have to like pull. I
Yeah,
don't really
you have
know.
to stretch the candy.
Yeah.
So, as someone who watches Hercules Candies a lot on YouTube, once the sugar is all heated up and melted with all the flavors and all this stuff, they dump it onto this like table, and it's not a cold. It's not just like any table. It's like this table that can regulate heat,
Oh.
and it's like this silver table. Okay, and so they start cooling down the candy, and once it's cool enough to touch, they wear these really big gloves and they put it on a hook and they stretch it
Ah.
because it turns the color because it's adding air
Yes,
into
and
the
then turns the
candy.
red, right? So
Hmm.
that's what they actually. Okay, so that was actually accurate. She did her research on how to make candy canes because that's exactly what they were describing.
Yeah.
So Story realizes she's like not strong enough to stretch this candy cane. She's like, "Fuck, I'm screwed."
What a weak bitch.
Yeah, but then Cole's like coming behind her and like, "Let's stretch this candy cane together."
Yeah.
So they stretch the candy cane, but she realizes like she's basically screwed because when they actually have to make the candy cane in front of everyone, she's
She
gonna
ain't gonna be
struggle.
able to do it.
But
Yeah.
I can't remember because once they come back and like the tension is eased or whatever, they almost kiss, but they like don't. I don't remember.
I wanted to say that someone was coming out, but I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
They just, it's the tension. Well, anyway, the candy cane competition, like no one knows that they're on okay terms now. Like everyone still thinks that she like obviously isn't, you know, she's
They're
not wanting to
still
go on a
fake
date.
dating.
Yeah, exactly. So they get to this candy cane competition and I can't remember, didn't Max suggest that they do
Yes.
pineapple or something like that?
Yes. And then Cole was like, "No, you know what happened with the pineapple and the
Yeah.
fruitcake. Well, why would you even suggest that?
But
He
then
likes traditional stuff."
yes, but then somebody else ends up doing pineapple and they actually
And
win.
one, yeah.
So, anyways, that was like a whole funny thing. And so obviously neither of them actually win first place
Yeah.
for the candy cane. I can't remember. I think
Cole
Cole
won
won
second.
second, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
just cuz
Story
his
was
was
third.
yes, mostly because Story couldn't pull the
Pull.
can't like
Mm-hmm.
stretch and whatever all that stuff. So anyways, now we move on to the intimate scene where she goes over to his front porch and they almost kiss, but they're like not sure if they should because Cole's like, "Well, you're going to be leaving again after all this
Mm-hmm.
is over." So whatever. And obviously they're sneaking around because Aunt Cindy and no one knows. But
Yes. And doesn't she go into his house at one point?
yes, because
And
Aunt Cindy and them go out of town.
yeah.
And then that's when Story's like, "Oh my god, I can finally sneak over to Cole so no
Yes.
one's gonna know."
And so Cole's house looks exactly the same way it did when his parents like passed away.
Yeah, so
So
he
like
has stuff on the
yeah,
furniture.
he hasn't opened anything, no Christmas decorations or anything. So Story was like, "Well, why don't we just like, unpack a little bit and put up your little Christmas stuff a little bit?"
Yeah, and then it turns into like them doing it on like what the rug and then
Yeah,
and
and
then
then
the
the
candy cane
room.
scene like okay, so let's just the candy cane scene now that we're here. Literally, guys, it was just him like rubbing the candy cane.
On her nipples.
Yeah.
That's it.
Do
Y'all
you think if our parents ever listen to it, they're like, "Whoa, what are they go? What's going
First of all, I want to say I'm gonna come closer with this one because y'all really disappointed me. TikTok made it seem like he shoved that candy cane so far
on?"
up her,
That's
like
what I thought
I'm like,
it was
oh
gonna be. That's what I thought it
no,
was gonna be too. So I was like, "Okay, I'm
this
ready."
was the softest. This was PG spice. This was like Disney Channel spice.
And for people who obviously like read dark romance, now that we're dark romance girlies or whatever, everything is like tame now.
Yeah, I was like, "Are you for real?" They didn't do anything with the like. I mean, he was literally holding the candy cane. They would make out. He would shove it in her mouth. They would make out. He would rub it on her. They would make out. Like that was it. Like there was nothing done with this candy cane that you would think was gonna happen. TikTok made it seem like it was so like extravagant, like this dark romance in this colorful book. No, mid PG.
Yeah. If y'all want some true like things going on. Y'all should just read the Hollow Boy series, okay? They got some serious things going on in there. It's crazy up in that series.
And you know, I get it because like some people don't like dark romance. 100% I get it. This was a cute little one, but like this wasn't even near like a spice. Like you know what I mean? Like it was different that they used a candy cane, but like it wasn't used, if that
I
makes
agree.
sense.
You know, speaking of this, now that so that and then guys, that was basically it. That's where it
Yeah.
basically ends off. So now we're gonna go on a tangent. So recently, usually when I read Spice, I'm like, I'm like, oh god, I don't know how I
Shut the book.
feel. Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a little getting too descriptive or whatever. But it's like numb. Like I'm numb to it. But
Right.
recently, so I read Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto, and I had read her other book, Forget Me Not, and I didn't really like that one.
Mhm.
But Not Another Love Song,
It was
there's a
good.
scene. All I'm gonna say to pique the interest is that there's a scene with the cello.
Let me write it down. What
Yeah,
is it
there's
called?
Not Another Love Song,
Not Another Love Song.
but there's a scene with the cello, and I think it's just because I've never read something where like playing the cello is like sexualized in a way.
Mhm.
But when I read that scene, I said, "Oh, okay."
It was spicy.
It wasn't even that like spicy, but it was different, and I was like, that was low key.
And see, so now I'm thinking, like, as a romance author, are you trying to make your spice different than all the other spicy books that are available on the market? You know, like, for instance, this one was different. Okay, I will give it
Mhm.
that. It was different. I don't think we both have ever read a Christmas romance that had this kind of spice. So I would say out of all the Christmas romances, this is
Different.
a different and like maybe like a top tier spice because of that scene.
Right.
Now, was it something that we can compare to a regular romance where
Mhm.
right? Eh.
I agree because like I feel like honestly when it comes down to spice, a lot of it like some people obviously you have to have trigger warnings because not
Right.
all spice is normal, especially in that dark romance.
Right.
You're like, "Oh, whoa, is this normal?"
Mhm.
It's not. But like for this kind of spice, I feel like a lot of it's the same, right? It's like, "Oh my god, he thrusted. Oh my god, we
Yeah.
finished together. Oh my
It's
god."
very
Like
PG.
yeah, like it's
Yeah.
just you're reading it and you're like, "Okay." But then there is some spice where you're like, like,
Never tried that before.
don't think I ever will either. But I'm like, that's intriguing. Like,
Well, you know, I feel like there's two kinds of spice. Spice that you can read in public and like be okay, then spice where you get to and you're like, let me just save this for later because I don't want anyone to see me
yeah.
reading this.
Yes,
you know?
because I will say, like, I think the first time I ever read something that had a spicy scene truly was The Love Hypothesis for
Okay.
Ali Hazelwood.
Mhm.
And the first time I read that and I got to spicy and I was like, it's definitely not something I'm going to read in public, like that scene.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
when I first read it, I was like, that did more for me. Like, I was like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like that did more for me than the candy cane around the nipples. Like,
Right. And I think you start off really low. Like my first spice was King of Wrath.
oh,
Yeah, so I was already like, boom, you know, like it gave me, I was already like, oh wow, you know, like that's
yeah.
kind of crazy. Like, not in a book. It's like, this is supposed to be educational. No, but I think where you start and where you
Yeah.
end is like two different things that where you can now compare. Okay, that was not spicy. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's really hard, especially on like what's the book review play? I'm literally blanking.
Goodreads?
Goodreads. I feel like it's really hard to take reviews from Goodreads because people have a different idea of what spice is.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, even going back to TikTok when people were talking about this scene, like, oh my god, it was so insane. Girl, no, it wasn't.
I know.
I'll show you insane.
I was like, I was ready. I was like, let's go. I'm gonna read this candy cane scene. And then I was like,
And I think that's where we struggle too, especially for the podcast, because we do so much research on the book and the author before we read the book
Our
that our
expectations.
expectations are high. And then when it gets to that point where we're supposed to be wowed or crying or like literally in awe at the spicy,
We're
we're
like,
just like, because that happened to us in A Little Life.
yes, like we were like prepared to bawl, and I don't know, maybe we're just heartless.
Maybe that too. And that's a little concerning.
Yeah.
It's
Trauma.
giving we need therapy. But
Yeah.
even then, I feel like the research kind of amps us up to think, or amps us up to this scene, this one part of the book that we're supposed to be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, and
That's why I'm afraid to read Fourth Wing.
yeah, and you know what though? We haven't done a lot of research on Fourth Wing.
True.
We haven't looked at the reviews. Maybe this time we should skip the reviews
Yeah,
and read the book.
let's just go into it.
Yeah.
Like,
So we say all of this to say, if you think this book is spicy, we are not judging you for it because
At
we
all.
get it. We have different levels of spice. So now, like, I mean, I've only dibble dabbled, like kicked my feet in the water in dark romance. So like, I now know like what I just read is not as spicy as things I'll read in a dark
Yeah.
romance. And you know what? That's okay. Like,
I agree.
there's just different levels of spice per se.
I agree. And we read like a bunch of romances, so if y'all need like a spectrum of stuff to read, hit us up. Like I got the whole spectrum. I'll
Right.
show you.
And I think this is just like a lovey silly romance.
Yeah.
It's giving, like you said, it's giving like Lunar Love. And
Mhm.
I also love these kinds of books because it gives me a when I'm in a reading slump, I like to read these kinds of books because I'm
Mhm.
like, oh my God, that's so funny. Like,
Yeah.
like I will then pick up another book and be like, oh, I want to read another one of it. It's just so lighthearted, it's fast,
agree.
and it's easy to read.
Yep, I agree. So with that being said, stay tuned. We're gonna see if maybe there's more spice, or like maybe there's another candy cane scene extended that we don't know about. Maybe
Right.
because we only got to the kid. I don't know. We're not gonna say nothing, but well, stay tuned with us. We're gonna finish this book soon, and then we already said it. We're gonna start Fourth Wing. That's the biggest thing that we're gonna read.
I'm so excited for
Me
that.
too. Honestly, I've been biting my nails, like holding on, like, oh fuck, like I really want to read it, but
So maybe we might rush the rest of this book just
Yeah.
because we have been reading it for 60 years.
yeah, and
And
then
then we'll start Fourth Wing for
Yep.
reals.
So, with that being said, thank you for tuning in with us, and we will catch you on the flip side. No candy canes.
No candy canes.
Bye.